Hello and welcome to another video. I forgot to color these. This is probably gonna become maybe a short series, but it's what if the British or what if the United Kingdom tried to reform their empire or form an empire. Now my map is a little bit different. It's the same map, but I decided to trace probably the biggest conflict right now, which is the Ukraine war. If I want to do anything with that, this is saved as my normal map now. I also have border disputes on a different layer, so you can see, just all the different border disputes. I guess let's get into it. And I guess I need to add, these other territories that the United Kingdom has, so let me add those. Okay, so this should be it. I think I got all of it. So, of course, we have the United Kingdom. There's Cyprus. There are claims on the island of Cyprus. One of these is St. Helena. And then their Antarctic claims, the Falkland Islands, and the South Georgia Islands, I think. Then the Cayman Islands, and all their territories. I think I got them. I might have colored in like a wrong island or something, and these lines definitely aren't perfect. This is the base of it. So anyway, we can get into the video, where their first move will not be that surprising, I don't think. That is invading the Irish. And, also in this scenario, like my others, we're going to have to ignore the United Nations and NATO and all the alliances, because if that was a thing, this would not happen. And we're also going to have to, even though the United Kingdom is strong, probably buff them, so they're now a lot stronger than they are in real life, or maybe kind of stronger. I don't know. They're stronger than they are in real life. And also, this video, and if this is turning into a series, is not meant to offend anyone. It is just for fun. And it's also not going to be realistic, because if this happened, there'd be a lot of backlash and just a lot of stuff. But anyway, so the British will go ahead and take the northern part of Ireland, and then soon after capture Dublin, or at least encircle it, as they'll now go down the coast and slowly go down the Irish island, now reaching all the way to the bottom. And they will be fully annexing it. So, goodbye Ireland. And now we see a bigger United Kingdom. And the next one is going to be Iceland, as it is a strategic point. They do want to form a bigger empire. They can go up into Greenland, or they can, it's a very strategical point. But yeah, anyway, Iceland doesn't have a military, so they would land over here, move up towards Reykjavik. I hope that, I think I'm pronouncing it right. And after they take about this, Iceland would surrender. And the United Kingdom, or the British Empire, as it's going to be referred to, will fully annex the thing. And also to gain more control over the sea, they will do yet another thing now, which is declare war on the Faroe Islands, which is really declaring war on Denmark. because the Faroe Islands are a territory of Denmark, and if you're declaring war on Denmark, you're declaring war on all those territories as well, such as Greenland. So we see already Greenland brought into the war, which, I mean, it may look huge, but it's not. It is just a bunch of ice and a slightly populated area. But the British are going to take the Faroe Islands, and then they are going to go over to Denmark and make a landing, as Denmark is not that strong and will fall pretty quickly. After this, they will land over here in southern Greenland. So they take these southern areas, and eventually will capture Nuuk, or I don't know how to pronounce it. It might be Nuuk, but it's like somewhere along this coast. And no, not like a nuclear bomb. It's actually called that. But once they capture this, Greenland and Denmark in a whole will probably just surrender. And yeah, we can see a couple things happening. I'm just going to do the peace treaty on camera because it's pretty simple. The British will get Greenland and the Faroe Islands, and Denmark will just be left alone. So yeah, the British have already got themselves a nice empire here. It's not very, well, I mean, it's not much powerful than they are right now, without the buffs, of course. But now they want to kind of take back some of their colonies, and, well, they are going to begin to focus more on this area. But first, they're going to make Argentina, I don't know why I stuttered there, remove their claims over the Faroe Islands, oh my gosh, not the Faroe Islands, the Falkland Islands. And so the British will make a landing over here and take quite a bit of land, as they'll then capture Buenos Aires, I think that's what it's called. And they will start to move through more areas of Argentina, capturing the coastal areas and all the more populated areas, I guess. I mean, this isn't very populated. And so they will begin to go north, and at this point, Argentina knows they're not going to win, and I feel like most of their population is just over here, and so with this, they would most likely surrender at this point, because, I mean, there's just not a good point fighting, so we can see what the British will be taking out of Argentina. Okay, and we see two things happening. First, Argentina is forced to remove their claims over the Falkland Islands, and two, the British will be annexing all of this. No, not that. They're not annexing the oceans. They're annexing these parts of Argentina, and the rest will be left alone, but pretty weakened. Well, I don't know if I'd say pretty weakened. They still have their capital, I think. I think it's right there. I might be wrong, but I think they lost out on some population, but yeah, that is it for them. And the British will now start to look at some of their old colonies, and the first one they will be going ahead and retaking is actually the Gambia, as it has a kind of strategical position. It's kind of like the midway point, because, you know, you got the North Empire here, and then the southern part of the empire. This is kind of like the midway point between that. And it's also, I think, the smallest of their former colonies. So basically it would, for them, be the most beneficial. Well, no, it wouldn't, but it would be partly beneficial to, have a halfway point. I don't know, but they're going toward the Gambia, and so they're going to quickly take it over. Gambia's pretty weak. And now they will begin to look at some of their other colonies, and South Africa is the one, no, wrong colors, they will look at next, as well as, it's Lesotho and Eswatini. I don't know which one's which, but they're going to be declaring war on these 3 countries, and they'll be landing in, I think this is the, it's something Cape Town, I think. Yeah, they'll be landing there and moving out through the rest of South Africa, as they'll put up a good fight, and the British will make several other landings that will all connect up, as they will capture the whole of this country. I don't know, I think it's Eswatini, I might be wrong though. And they'll cut off the coast of South Africa completely and enter into this other country and they'll surrender. From there they'll move out and now just kind of start to move in on all sides. There's not a bunch of strategical positions here. They just kind of move wherever they can. And eventually, now with South Africa losing their populated and developed areas, they will go ahead and surrender. And we can see some things happening here. And this is what we have happening. So the British will take some of the coastal land, and the rest will become a puppet, which includes Lesotho and Eswatini. So yeah, they have now established themselves a nice empire here. Sorry if the quality of the audio here is bad. Just moving around a bit. But yeah, so with that, they will look to their other colonies, and they see some benefit in Kenya because it would help with trade. So they will go ahead and declare war on Kenya, and as their army will be stationed here. I honestly don't know where the capital of Kenya is, but the British will cut off the coast of Kenya and move around a lot quicker than South Africa, due to Kenya being a lot weaker as far as I know. They'll now reach over to this lake. Can't remember what it's called. I know the name, I just can't remember. Though they will then split Kenya into 2, and pretty soon after, Kenya will go ahead and surrender, and they will be annexing a little bit of land. And this is what we get, as the British will annex the southern part of Kenya, and the northern part will become a puppet state, or maybe even like a colony. I don't know. I might refer to these as more of a colony than a puppet state. I mean, I feel like they're pretty similar. But either way, yeah, they will take it. And now they have some land on few continents. They have some on North and South America, as well as Antarctica, of course Europe, and quite a bit on Africa. But now they are going to Oceania. Just it might be a little bit of a big step, but they are going to be declaring war on New Zealand, which isn't that strong. But the forces will be moving over here and landing, cutting off the North from the South, and capturing Wellington, and Auckland will be captured not too long after. And with this, the northern part of New Zealand will fall, and the British troops will move quickly through the southern part, as New Zealand will surrender. And we can see something happening. I don't know yet. So they will be annexing these two areas, and I know this doesn't make a bunch of sense why they're just annexing little parts and then puppeting the rest, but it's like, trying to think of a good example. It's like, just to kind of, so they have full control over those areas. It's like with the Napoleonic Wars, how there were a bunch of puppets all over, but then there were just little splotches where France actually controlled directly. It's the same thing here, kind of, except it's more for trade, but it's also for control. So yeah, that is kind of the reasoning behind that, I guess. But then, like, they also just fully annexed the Gambia, because there's not really a good reason not to. It would honestly help the country out. But now they're going to cause a little bit of a skirmish, because, well, I don't know, it's probably going to be more than a skirmish, but they're going to invade Cyprus. The only thing here is that Cyprus is kind of two. It's northern Cyprus, occupied by the Turkish, and southern Cyprus, or actually the Republic of Cyprus. And so, yeah, this will, the Greeks like the southern part, and the Turks like the northern part. So these two will be going to war, and it is now a three-way war. Okay, now in real life there's also a UN-controlled buffer zone. We're just gonna say that doesn't exist. So yeah. But now we see a three-way war, because the Turks will focus in on the southern Cyprus, and the Greeks will try to push the British out. But the British will decide it's more beneficial to invade into the northern part, and they will completely knock out the Turks before wiping out the Greeks. The Turks will make another landing in Cyprus, but it won't go too well. And at this point, Cyprus is gone, and the British will land in Crete, taking it, and then began to island hop throughout Greece, as the Turks will now send their troops into Greece, attempting to forget that they are at war with the British. And the British will now reach near Athens, as the islands around Greece will be captured, and the Turks rapidly advancing in the north. The British will make a landing on Greece, capturing Athens and the areas around it, as the southern island will fall, and the northern part of Greece will also, but the British will begin to fight back the Turks, and, the Turks are, they're sad that the British didn't forget that these two are at war. And the British will advance into Thrace, but once they reach the area around Istanbul, it will become very, very, very hard to progress, as the Turks are defending this very hard. And the British will now land down here as well as over here as they capture the city down here, which is, I think, Izmir. As they make a lot of landings throughout Turkey, and the entire southern or Mediterranean coast of Turkey is cut off, and soon the Battle of Istanbul will be on two sides, and the Turks are cut off from it because the British are also having a naval blockade. And with this, the troops here are gonna slowly be beat back, with the British rapidly advancing, and even nearing Ankara. The Turks will think about having peace, and when Istanbul falls and the British troops are at Ankara, they will try to sign peace with the British, and it will go well. The war will end. And so this is how it goes. And, well, the British get a lot of land here, and Turkey is split into two, which will most likely lead this area to join Greece, even though the Turks will probably not allow it. They can't do anything about it because the British are kind of acting as a buffer zone, because, it is a complete buffer zone between the Turks and the Greeks. But the British also get control of the strait here. This is Strait of Istanbul, maybe? But that is going to be very beneficial because, just Russia and, other countries that have trade going in and out through here. It's very beneficial. And, yeah, the British have formed a pretty big, a very spaced out empire. But now they're going to be going after their old colonies, as they are going all out for this one, declaring war on a bunch of these countries over here, and trying to think what other ones they had. They had Zambia, and they will declare war on all these countries, as well as Togo, and the offensive will begin over here in Guinea, where Guinea will soon fall, and they will now cut off both Ghana and Togo from the sea, as they will surrender, and their troops will advance into Botswana, and they will prepare to invade Zimbabwe, as Botswana will fall, and they will invade Zimbabwe, now reaching up into Zambia. As over here, they will invade Uganda, and it will go very, very well. And Zimbabwe will soon fall, and Zambia will be cut into two and surrender, and Malawi will soon fall after that. And that's actually not it, because they're going after Tanzania now, to link up their colonies, or new colonies. And they will immediately advance into Tanzania from their Kenya and Uganda, as well as in from Zambia. And the Tanzanians, they'll put up a fight. It's not a very good one, but it's definitely not like these other African countries. and well, they will soon fall because they couldn't handle the new British Empire, and the British will now decide to go after Benin, taking it over. And it's about time I drawn the borders for this. Let me do that real quick. Okay, you know what? Just for simplicity, I'm gonna get rid of all the puppet states, and I'm just gonna make them all part of the British Empire because that's kind of how it should be. It'll just look nicer. Okay, yeah, this looks better. So, yeah, what we have happening is just all these countries being annexed, and the British, they're not just going to stop there in Africa. They're going to go after Burkina Faso and Mali, as well as Senegal. This is to link up their colonies, and they will move out from Gambia, moving into Senegal as they'll surrender. They'll move into Mali, and then they'll move in from Ghana, Togo, and Benin. Burkina Faso will surrender. They'll move in to Mali from both sides, and Mali will, with being left with just their desert areas, will surrender. And we actually don't see the complete annexation of all these countries because they will actually decide to let Mali live, although with them now just being desert, it might have been better just to annex them. And so yeah, this is what it looks like. But they now want to connect up their colonies even more, and well, I guess not connect up, but they're going after Central Africa, and they're going after Egypt as well. So just this, they will move in from this colony down here, their Kenya colony, as they'll probably be called, or East Africa, I don't know. They'll move into South Sudan as we see something interesting happen here, because Sudan will just go ahead and ignore that they are being invaded, or that they are declared war upon, and they'll move into South Sudan as well because they don't like them. The only thing is now the British are invading into their occupied land, and yeah, that's not too good for Sudan. Probably just do that so it looks nicer, but yeah. And my brain is like tired. I don't know why. Anyway, they will go into Niger and move throughout it, and it will soon give up. They'll capture the capital of Chad, and they'll now invade Chad on two sides, cutting them into two and forcing them into surrender, as Sudan will be next, and well, the Egyptian military will arrive and slow things down a little bit, but it's not the full Egyptian military, and it's actually going to start to retreat because, you know, they might have bigger issues up north, because these guys have just made a landing over here, capturing, I think, Cairo, and also the Suez Canal, and with this they'll begin to move down by the Nile, cutting off Egypt's coastline, and Egypt doesn't stand much of a chance against the British, especially getting invaded on two sides. the British will go ahead and invade this unclaimed land, and soon after Egypt will surrender, and we can see all these countries will be turned into colonies, and yeah. And that is what we see happening. And the British Empire is already very large, and yeah. They're going to do one last thing in this episode, and that is declare war on Malaysia. And if you've guessed, they're going for the Strait of Malacca, as well as Singapore. They're invading Singapore. And they'll land and take out this part of it, or not Indonesia, Malaysia. They'll take out that part, this island as well, and this part will soon surrender. And what we see happening here is actually not full annexation. They are just going to be taking this area in Singapore, and the rest will be left alone. But yeah, that is going to do it for this episode. I might draw in like the borders of actually the colonies, but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode, and thank you for watching. Bye.